Welcome back, viewers. You are still tuned in to Prime Live, and it is a Wednesday. So all our conversations today are centered around tech and tech innovations. And we are so excited to welcome into studio with us today Sheena O'Connell, who is the founder of Prelude Tech. We will be delving into the fascinating world and the fascinating intersection of women in tech communities, as well as Htmx, web development and education, but more importantly, talking a bit more about understanding technology diversity and education, as well as her passion for transforming or driving rather transformation in these areas. Now, this is going to be a truly inspiring and enlightening conversation, so do stay tuned with us. Good evening, Sheena. Thank you for joining us on Prime Live.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Love to see women in the tech space, especially driving innovation and making the space more inclusive. But let's start by talking about what led you to the tech space. What inspired you to delve into the tech space, and where did the journey start?
So the journey started a long time ago. I learned how to code when I was in my early teens. I had about a year of computer studies in school, and after that the obsession hit. I got an engineering degree, electrical engineering, but after that I was always attracted to software development roles. Did a lot of different startups. Like that was my main thing, working for startups, and yeah, continued on from there.
I mean, it's amazing to see, the technical innovations that are coming. And like in the previous interview, they talked about how whether we like it or not, the innovations are coming and we need to embrace them.
Yeah.
And talking about being in the digital space, and when it comes to educating ourselves on how to use these platforms to better our lives, not necessarily to cheat or to have AI doing these things for us, we need to kind of assimilate with technology and with AI. And that is definitely something that is lacking in our education system. And that's something you're very passionate about, is education in tech. Talk to us a little bit more about that.
Okay, cool. So after working in startups for a while, I had a little bit of a burnout, and I reconsidered my options and what I wanted to do. And education is something that's always been attractive to me. Like I've been teaching people. Like when I was a kid, I was tutoring. When I was I've taught people different sports. I've always been teaching. So I kind of honed on just solving problems in education. I wanted to start a code school so that I would have a testing ground for different things. Starting a code school is complicated. So I started a code school in a code school. So I worked for 5 years in a non-profit education provider and built up a web development curriculum and all the systems that teach and all of that. And it was very successful. Like high 90% of the people who got through those systems ended up getting good jobs, keeping good jobs. It was great. So that's kind of where it started. So now what I'm doing with Prelude.tech is I'm starting with a blank slate, and I'm taking everything that I've learned over the last 5 years, and I'm building something from scratch that is as awesome as I can make it, and it's been pretty good. So that's kind of how my education story goes. I suppose one thing that's worth mentioning is that I personally found education quite frustrating for a lot of my life, like school and university. There's a lot about it that's inefficient, and there's a lot of people that are underserved in different ways. That's not to say it's all bad. I mean, look how many people can read. This is great. But there's a lot that can be done better, and changing a big system is really, really hard. But working in alternative education, you have a place where you can test things and you can try things out. And so I got to experiment a lot and try a lot of different things. And so that's where I'm at with that. I think another aspect of it, I suppose, is that I am all about having an impact. And you can have impact on individual lives by teaching them, but by helping educators, you can do a whole lot more. So I started this thing called the Guild of Educators, which is just an open, free community for people who teach software development, mostly Python related, but it's pretty broad. And there we have conversations like the last conversation that you just had, where we have a whole lot of teachers in the room and we're like, okay, let's talk about LLMs. What do we think? And I think having the conversations that need to be had is really important. And I think support structures for teachers are also really important because people drop out of the field so quickly. So, no, that's it in a nutshell.
I think the work you've chosen to do is incredibly commendable, incredibly difficult because you're making waves for things that don't exist yet. But I think it's so important in terms of the long-term vision you have, in terms of removing that digital divide that does exist. And you see that. And I feel your frustration when you talk about the frustration you experience within the schooling system, as well as within university as well. There's so much that we don't know and we don't understand and we're not taught. And I think you're paving the way for something really innovative and really cool. And I'm excited to see where it's going to go. And I love that your passion lies within education. I think in the digital world we live in, we all need to be more educated, and we need to give everyone the best possible opportunity to flourish in this very tech-driven world that we're living in. But I want to talk about something that I have not a lot of information about, right? And this is why I love having these kind of tech conversations, because it's always changing and I love to learn and I love to know more about it. And I want to talk to you about HTMX in terms of web development. Tell us, what is HTMX and how does it contribute to bettering web development or making it easier?
All right, so the best way I can explain it is, I suppose, looking at the history of it and the history of web development. When I started writing code for a living, web development was like the easy way to get into coding. You could make some websites, and you could make some money, you could get some experience, and you could level up and go on to do great things. Many people started that way. But as people had higher and more and more requirements on front-end experiences, you want more interactivity with your applications. You need like bells and whistles and all sorts of stuff. Like standard web dev tooling just wasn't cutting it, and so different tools got invented to solve different problems. So there was Angular, React, and there's a lot of different ones, like Vue, Svelte, there's tons. And these exist to help with that interactivity. And they help by moving a lot of the computation to the front end, to the person's browser. And it's a bit heavy. Like if you write an application with these tools, it's complicated. It's not easy anymore. Suddenly, like I was at one point maintaining and building a application that had a React front end and a Django backend, and we had some APIs, and you needed state management, you have Redux, and then you need some side effect stuff, so you have Saga, and it's this complicated thing. So if you take a junior developer and you say, like, build a feature, they can't. You need somebody who's like really skilled in like a whole lot of different things if you want them to build like a full stack feature. And so the sizes and shapes of software development teams have had to change. You've got front-end developers and they do like all sorts of fancy stuff, and you have back-end developers and they do different fancy stuff, and it's expensive. And it's expensive because you need different skill sets, and they're both like difficult, but you also have coordination like that needs to happen. And so that's what it means for people. But people have a tendency to solve problems by adding solutions. It's like, the web frameworks that we were using weren't good enough. They didn't solve this problem. We'll add something, we'll add something, we'll add something. And so it's just getting more and more complicated. So what Htmx does is it says, all right, let's look at the basics of the web. Like the web is built on like websites and web interactions typically. They're built on HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Like that's the basics. And HTML is actually like quite solid. It can do quite a lot, but it can't do what we need. So it's like, how could we just make HTML good enough for the modern web? Let's look at like all of our current needs and all of our current lessons and see what minimally we have to change with HTML so it's good enough. And it does that quite elegantly. So mechanistically speaking, the way HTMX works, a nice way to think about it is it lets you conditionally re-render different parts of the front end. So you can fetch information from the back end and re-render it in different ways. But, and that sounds a little bit complicated, but like if you get into it, it feels a lot like old school web dev. And that's cool, like you're very efficient with it. So my personal story with it, I mentioned I was running that full stack web application. Was complicated. I had this team of people that were working with me, and a lot of them were junior, and they were struggling. Like it was really, really hard to get them to be productive, to the point where I was like, maybe this is the wrong team. Maybe I need to figure out how to like get a different team because we're not getting anywhere with these people. And I heard about Htmx at a conference, and I was like, that seems insane. Let me just try it. And like in an afternoon, I'd like built most of the most complicated parts of our application in Htmx. I was like, that took 4 hours. What's going on? So I tested it on myself first, and then I tested it on my team, and suddenly everybody was productive. So, I mean, it's great because it's just like a clean, elegant way of writing web dev code again. But I think it's also really great for people again. So like, I spoke about the human cost of adopting complicated stacks of technologies. If you adopt a simple stack like this, where more people can be productive, then that expands the pool of people that you can hire. It means that you don't need to pay like intermediate to senior level developers if you want to build something simple. You can get some juniors and they can help. So that's great because now people can, I think we get to reclaim web development as the gateway into software development because of tools like Htmx. And that's why I'm so excited about it. Like,
No, that
so
sounds
many levels.
that sounds very cool.
Yeah.
And you explained perfectly. Even someone like me can understand, the level of innovation behind this, and it's very, very cool what we're able to do and achieve. And also then creating these pathways for cost effectiveness as well is very, very cool. But what I want to ask you in closing as well, I mean, I'm very excited by your ideas and your innovation and, of course, your passion for education. What can we expect from Prelude Tech, and how can we keep in touch with you guys? Are you on any social media platforms? Tell us everything.
Okay, so branding is hard, you guys. So currently I'm doing a lot of stuff as myself, as Sheena. So I have a blog, sheenaoc.com, and then Prelude Tech, you can get on there. The social media aspect is something that needs to be worked on, but you can follow me on my blog. There's a newsletter. I'm on Fostodon or Mastodon, so also Sheena. I'm Sheena everywhere. Twitter, I'm on there as well, Sheena_O'Connell. LinkedIn, Sheena O'Connell. So you can find me on those. And then what's in the future? So my goal with Prelude is partially to find better ways of teaching tech because a lot of things are changing very quickly, and we can develop better tools and mechanisms to get the stuff right. But a big part of what I want to do is I want to empower educators. So I want to build an organization where people can, like educators can thrive and flourish, and they can be like, I don't know, just looked after really well. A lot of education providers don't do that. The teachers are a cog in the machine. They're the workhorses. They're not necessarily looked after. So I want to build something that's quite different. And then the other aspect of that is I want to, so most of my clients at the moment are in the US and Europe and that kind of thing, which is quite nice because then I get to charge them properly. But part of the reason I'm doing that is so that I have excess, so I can help people who need help. So I've been training a bunch of people in Ghana, for example, just for free because I can. So I'm experimenting with different things like that as well. So just trying to find ways to build an organization that leaks goodness out into different places. So Prelude itself is like pretty new. It started last year. So there's a lot that I'm figuring out still, but it's doing solid work, yeah.
I love the sound of that. I mean, I'm so inspired by your dedication to education and to educating people. And I love the aspect that you're focusing on educators because, like you said, if you teach one person, you're impacting one person. But if you're impacting a teacher, you're impacting thousands. But Sheena, thank you so much for this insightful conversation and for sharing your passions with us. I hope we can bring you back and pick your brain on, some of the other tech innovations that you're able to share with us. But thank you for sharing your passion and your creativity and, the amazing things you are going to do in this world. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
viewers at home, that was Sheena O'Connell. Please do reach out on her social media platforms. Make sure you stay in touch and in tune, and make sure you see the future of what Prelude Tech is going to do when it comes to the innovating ideas she has shared with us this evening in terms of educating and empowering educators, more importantly. But do stay tuned for more on the show tonight. On that note, it is time for us to head over to an ad break, and we'll come right back.